Duncan Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Benton, and I'm particularly grateful for you calling me to speak on what is my first opportunity so to do here in Westminster Hall. Residents of my Chippenham constituency will welcome the end of regional housing targets in the regional spatial strategies, especially those seeking to protect Marsh woods and land along the town's floodplains from development. Some of those residents, who I believe the Minister met when he visited my constituency just a few months ago. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to meet him at the time, but the circumstances were such that perhaps that wouldn't have been welcomed by all. Wiltshire councillors were very keen to blame these development proposals on the regional spatial strategy, and others promised that these proposals would be stopped if the new government abolished the regional spatial strategy. Only time will tell if that promise was as true as that of the parties that have come together to form this coalition government in their determination to abolish the regional spatial strategies. In its place, I do hope that we will see opportunities to provide housing, particularly affordable housing, in part through a renewed commitment to bring empty homes into use. But also, I believe that there are very exciting proposals ahead for how we may be able to secure very small-scale schemes of affordable housing in our villages, such as happened very successfully in Broughton Gifford, just down the road from me. Such schemes will be essential for those very small communities to sustain themselves and also to ensure the viability of village schools. I must tell the Minister that Wiltshire Council is very keen to receive advice from the Secretary of State as to whether planning inspectors will now disregard the regional spatial strategies, which, as my honourable friend, the member for Cheltenham, pointed out to us, in the case of the South West, only has the status of an emerging strategy. But it's not only the Council that has asked me about this. Local conservation campaigners fear that in the absence of a core strategy adopted by Wiltshire Council, their draft core strategy, which sought to conform with the regional spatial strategy, may still have the effect of imposing the regional housing targets by the back door during this local policy vacuum. Mr. Benton, I was very clearly opposed to the regional housing targets and wrote to the member for Salford as part of the consultation on the regional spatial strategy while she was the then Secretary of State, to make this very clear in the case of Chippenham. However, I looked closely enough at the region's draft RSS prior to her department's intervention to see some very welcome policies to promote energy efficiency and resource sustainability of those buildings which were to have been planned for. So my final request to the Minister is to ask how he and his colleagues will facilitate the availability of such best practice policies in these respects for local councils to adopt for themselves, should they so choose. Mr. Benton, the debate over the regional spatial strategies have, in my view, been a case of representative democracy in action. Very strong feeling by our constituents, communicated very effectively through the democratic process, delivering a response from their new government. In agreeing the coalition agreement, members on this side of the House have started to do their bit, and I'm sure that the Minister is determined to complete the job in government. It is, however, imperative that between his officials, councils, planning inspectors, and the skillful developers, that the wishes of our constituents are not overridden during any hiatus or confusion during any vacuum in policy applicable. And so I would very much welcome the Minister's comments to address these concerns during his forthcoming speech. Thank you.